I want to start today with a question, and I want you to be really honest with yourself when you answer it, not, the answer you think you're supposed to give.
Yeah,
How does your chest feel right now?
my chest. That's a very specific, almost clinical question to kick things off.
Just bear with me. Does it feel light, open, or does it feel a little tight? Like there's a stack of invisible cinder blocks just sitting right on your sternum.
Uh, okay. I see where you're going with this.
Because I was looking at my calendar this morning and I saw the extra project I agreed to lead at work and the bake sale I promised I'd bake 3 dozen gluten-free muffins for. And then there's the neighbor's dog I said I'd walk because, they sprained their ankle. And I felt the bricks. I really felt them.
You're describing the visceral, absolutely universal sensation of what one of our sources calls the yes treadmill.
The yes treadmill, that is perfect. That's exactly what it is. It's that specific flavor of exhaustion where you're running yourself into the ground, not because anyone is forcing you to, but because you agreed to absolutely everything.
From the boardroom to the backyard.
To the dog park. And today, we are getting off that treadmill. We are stopping it.
We are. And I think it's really important to state right up front.
Yeah.
This isn't a deep dive about becoming a recluse. We are not here to teach you how to be a villain or, a hermit.
Right. We're not telling everyone to just quit their jobs and move to a cabin in the woods, though some days.
Some days that sounds pretty good. But no, what we're actually exploring is the art of saying no
Yeah.
as a necessary tool for self-preservation. In the stack of sources we've pulled together for today, the consensus is really clear. Boundaries are not walls you build to shut people out.
That's such an important distinction.
It is. They're the structure. They're the frame that keeps your professional integrity and, frankly, your mental health from collapsing. Without them, you aren't a house. You're more like a tent in a hurricane.
I am so relieved we are doing this topic. I jokingly call myself a recovering people pleaser, but honestly, the recovery it's going poorly. I
Yeah.
relapse pretty much daily. I need this.
I think you and a lot of listeners are in the same boat. The modern world is almost designed to extract yes from us at every turn.
It really is. Okay, so let's lay out the mission for this deep dive. We have a serious stack of research in front of us. We're pulling from the Book of No by Dr. Susan Newman, which is, it's basically the Bible of boundaries.
It's a foundational text on the subject, for sure.
We also have these incredible clinical interventions on assertiveness from the Center for Clinical Interventions.
And those are so detailed. They break down human interaction almost like it's a coding language. It's very, very specific.
Super rigorous stuff. And then we've got some really fascinating neurodivergent perspectives on what's called text stress from Jeannie Gee's blog, and a bunch of therapy worksheets from places like CarePatron and the AHEAD app.
So our goal here, our mission, is to extract actionable scripts. We want to give you the exact words to say when your brain is screaming no, but your mouth is already forming the words, sure, no problem.
Yes, my mouth betrays my brain all the time.
Exactly. So we're going to move through this logically. We'll start by diagnosing what the sources call the disease to please, just figuring out why we do this to ourselves.
The diagnosis.
Then we'll look at some visualization tools, specifically something called the inner and outer circle. After that, we get into the heavy lifting, the specific word-for-word assertiveness protocols.
Including the broken record technique, which I'm very excited to talk about. It sounds amazing.
It's a classic for a reason. And we'll wrap up with the very modern nightmare of digital boundaries, all that tech stress, and then a concrete 7-day action plan to put this all into practice.
Okay, let's do it. Let's dive in. Let's start with that diagnosis. Why? Why is no the hardest word in the dictionary? I swear I can say anti-disestablishmentarianism easier than I can say no.
Well, according to the Book of No, Dr. Newman's work, it really starts with cultural conditioning. Think about it. From the time we are very, very small, yes is rewarded.
Totally. Yes means you're a good kid.
You're a good kid. You're a team player. You're adventurous. You're helpful. All these positive traits get associated with yes.
And no means you're difficult. You're being a brat. You're not a team player.
Precisely. And Newman describes this phenomenon she calls the yes trap. It's that exact moment you mentioned, where the words, sure, no problem, just.
Yeah.
They leave your mouth before your brain has even had a chance to process what the commitment actually involves.
It's a reflex. It's not a decision.
It's a total reflex. It feels like it bypasses the prefrontal cortex entirely
Hmm.
and just comes straight out of the brain.
Oh, I know that reflex intimately. It's like a knee jerk. Someone will say, hey, can you help me with something? And I'm already nodding before I even know what the something is.
Right.
They could be asking me to help them move a piano or, rub a bank. And I've already smiled and nodded. It's a disaster.
And that's the danger. And that leads to what the source calls the gray zone. This is a really, really dangerous area to live in. It's when you don't have a strong opinion about something or you're just undecided. Because you're wishy-washy, you default to yes.
Right. Because no requires a reason, or at least it feels like it does. It requires conviction. Yes is just. It's the path of least resistance. It keeps the conversation moving smoothly. No friction.
In the short term, yes.
Mm.
Absolutely. But Dr. Newman points out something critical. While yes is the path of least resistance in the moment, it becomes the path of most resistance later on.
Ooh, say more about that.
Well, now you're stuck doing something you didn't actually want to do.
Yeah.
So the friction you avoided in that 2-second conversation now gets spread out over hours or days of you doing this task. And this leads directly to resentment.
And resentment is just poison. For relationships, for your own mental state, for everything.
It's a poison. There's another archetype mentioned in the Book of No that you might find familiar.
I think I know which one you're going to say. It hit a little too close to home for me when I was reading. Is it the busy junkie?
It is the busy junkie.
Yeah.
This is a specific type of people pleaser. This is the person who equates being busy with being happy, or maybe more importantly, with having value.
Right. It's my calendar is full, therefore I am.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I am doing 1,000 things for 1,000 people, I must be important. I must be needed. It becomes a source of identity.
It's validation through exhaustion. Look how tired I am, therefore look how much I matter. It's so backwards when you say it out loud.
It is. And it's completely unsustainable. Newman actually has a people pleaser quiz in the book, which is designed to be a bit of a reality check
Yeah.
to help you identify if you have this disease to please.
I looked at that quiz. I have to say, some of those questions were brutal. Just brutally honest.
Which ones stood out to you?
Well, the first one is a classic. Do you feel guilty when turning someone down? And for me, that's a huge yes. It's immediate. It feels like I've committed a crime.
The guilt is a major indicator.
But the other one was, do you feel duped or manipulated after helping? That one really made me think.
That's a fascinating question, isn't it? Let's unpack that a little. What does that feel like?
It's that feeling of, wait a minute, I didn't actually want to do this, and now I'm mad at the person who asked me, even though I'm the one who said yes. It feels like I was tricked, but I tripped myself.
That is the core of the dysfunction right there.
Yeah.
You resent the asker. You start building a narrative in your head. How dare they ask me to do this? Don't they know how busy I am? But in reality, they just asked. That's all they did. You're the one who opened the door and let the resentment in.
And I handed them the key.
You did.
Yeah.
And the source materials list all the drivers for this behavior, and there are things we can all relate to. The need to be loved or liked, FOMO, the fear of missing out,
That's a big one. If I say no, I'll miss a great opportunity.
a huge one. Fear of being judged or abandoned is another. And then just good old-fashioned conflict avoidance.
Right. We'd rather be completely overwhelmed and stressed out for a week than have one single, awkward, 30-second moment of saying no.
We interpret that silence after we say no as like a life-threatening event. Our nervous system just goes haywire.
It does, but the cost is so high. And the Care Patron worksheets really highlight this. They make a distinction between being available and self-sacrificing.
That's a really useful distinction.
It is. Being available is good, right? It's part of being in a family, being a good colleague, being a member of a community. But self-sacrificing is when that availability starts to actively harm you, when it causes stress, sleep issues, or even physical ailments like stomach aches and headaches.
A body keeps the score. It always does.
It really does. It's that knot in your stomach on a Sunday night because you realize you've overcommitted for the entire week ahead.
And that worksheet from Care Patrons suggests a really powerful exercise. It asks you to analyze the transaction. You actually write down, what did I really want in that moment versus what did I do instead? And then, and this is the kicker, what did it actually cost me?
And the cost isn't just, oh, I lost 2 hours of my Saturday. It's so much deeper than that.
Exactly. It's I lost my self-respect in that moment, or I lost the energy I needed for the things that actually matter to me, for my own projects, for my family.
When you quantify it like that, the free favor you just did for someone becomes incredibly expensive. You're paying for it with your own well-being.
with a currency that's much more valuable than money.
Okay, so we're sick. The diagnosis is in. We are officially people pleasers. We are busy junkies. We have the disease to please. How do we start building the cure? The sources talk about visualization as a really important first step.
Right. And this is crucial because you cannot defend a border if you don't know where the property line is. It's that simple. If your property line is invisible, people are going to walk all over your lawn without even realizing it.
And you'll just get mad at them for walking on a lawn that has no fence.
Precisely.
Yeah.
One of the most helpful tools in our stack for this comes from the Choosing Therapy material. It's called the Circle Visualization.
I love visual tools. It helps get the concept out of the abstract and into something concrete. So walk us through it.
Okay, so imagine a circle, a big circle. Inside that circle is what we'll call your inner circle. This represents safety, relaxation, peace. The things that restore you, it's your sanctuary.
Okay, my sanctuary. So in my inner circle, I'm putting my morning coffee, reading a book, walking my dog.
Perfect. The source lists examples like morning meditation, herbal tea, therapy sessions. And interestingly, it specifically lists Max.
Max.
Yes, the source example is being at home with my dog, Max. So your dog is definitely an inner circle item.
Shout out to Max. Max is a priority. Max is a VIP.
Max is non-negotiable. He's inside the velvet rope. Now, everything outside that circle is the outer circle. These are the stressors, the boundary pushers, the energy vampires.
Oh, okay, so the outer circle. Definitely my work email after 6 p.m.
Yes. The source examples include things like unannounced neighbors, heated political debates, graphic news reports, or late-night venting from friends.
Oh, the late-night venting. That is such a classic boundary blur. Because you want to be a good friend, you want to be there for them, but suddenly it's 1 in the morning and you've become their on-call therapist and you have to be up in 5 hours.
Exactly. And this is why the visualization is so key. The takeaway is simple, but it's incredibly profound. You cannot set a boundary until you explicitly visualize what belongs outside your circle. If you haven't consciously decided that political debates after 9 p.m. belong in the outer circle, you'll get sucked into them every single time. It'll just happen by default.
You have to mentally evict them from the property before you can verbally tell them to leave. You have to decide this topic, this person, this task does not have an access pass to my peace of mind.
That's a perfect way to put it, an access pass. And this leads directly into how we need to redefine self-care. The material from Choosing Therapy really challenges the cliche here.
Yeah, we always think of self-care as, bubble baths and chocolate cake, the whole treat yourself mentality.
And those things can be great. There is absolutely nothing wrong with a bubble bath. That falls under physical self-care. But the worksheet breaks it down into 5 distinct types: physical, emotional, social, professional, and spiritual.
Okay, 5 types.
And here's where it gets really, really interesting for our topic today. Under the category of emotional self-care, do you know what is explicitly listed as an example?
Lay out on me.
Saying no.
Wow. Saying no is self-care. It's not just a defense mechanism, it's a proactive act of care.
It is categorized as a core maintenance tool for your emotional health. It's presented on the same level as positive affirmations or processing your emotions. Think of it this way. Saying no is to your emotional health what brushing your teeth is to your physical health.
So it's not an act of aggression, it's an act of hygiene.
It is emotional hygiene, exactly.
That is a huge reframe. That's a game changer for me. If I say no to that extra project, I'm not being lazy or unhelpful. I'm practicing emotional hygiene. I'm flossing my brain.
You're flossing your brain. And look at the other categories. Social self-care involves spending time with people who make you feel good versus those draining interactions. Professional self-care includes defining work hours and taking breaks. These are all active choices, they're boundaries, they're not just passive relaxation.
Okay, I'm sold. I am completely on board with the concept. I want to practice this hygiene, but this is where the fear kicks in. This is where the rubber meets the road. I don't know how to say it without sounding like a jerk. I need the script. I need the words.
And this is where we turn to the heavy artillery in our source stack. The module from the Center for Clinical Interventions, or CCI. This is clinically based, evidence-backed, rigorous stuff.
And they don't even start with words, do they? They start with something else.
Correct. They start with nonverbal communication. The CCI module has a very stern warning. You can use the perfect assertive words, you can memorize the scripts we're about to give you, but if you deliver them with aggressive body language or passive, mumbling, looking at the floor energy, the message will fail. The delivery trumps the words.
Okay, so what's the checklist? What do I need to be doing with my body when my mouth is saying these scary words?
It's a simple list. A calm voice, normal volume, so don't whisper it, but don't shout it, an even pace to your speech, good, steady eye contact, and, the hardest one for many, low physical tension.
Low physical tension is.
Yeah, that's hard. When my heart is pounding and I'm about to say no to my boss, my shoulders are usually trying to become earrings.
Of course. And that's why their number one piece of advice is to practice in neutral. Don't start your boundary setting journey with your most difficult, intimidating boss or your most emotionally manipulative relative. Don't start with the final boss of the video game.
Right. Start on level 1, practice on the barista when they ask if you want to add a pastry, or a low-stakes interaction with a colleague. A telemarketer is a fantastic training ground. The goal is to build the muscle memory of that calm voice and relaxed posture when the stakes are 0. So when the stakes are high, your body already knows what to do.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's get into the techniques, the tools. The CCI module lists several types of assertion. Let's start with the basics. Basic assertion.
Basic assertion is exactly what it sounds like. It is a simple, straightforward statement of your needs, wants, beliefs, or feelings. It almost always employs I statements.
So, like, I need to be away from my desk by 5 o'clock today.
Perfect. Or even simpler, I feel nervous, or I feel pleased with that result.
Wait, saying I feel nervous is an assertion? That just sounds vulnerable. It sounds like admitting weakness, especially at work.
That's a common misconception.
Yeah.
Vulnerability can be incredibly assertive. This is a technique they call self-disclosure. The source explains that by simply stating an emotion, I feel angry or I feel nervous about this deadline, you can actually reduce your own anxiety.
How does that work?
It puts you in charge of the feeling rather than letting the feeling run the show. You're naming the elephant in the room. If you say, look, I'm feeling a little anxious about this timeline, can we walk through it? You sound confident and self-aware, not weak. You're taking control.
It's like you claim it before it can undermine you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for the listener who is just starting out, the recovering people pleaser, basic assertion might feel too blunt, too direct. It can feel a little scary. And that's where empathic assertion comes in.
Empathic assertion. Okay, this sounds like the sweet spot. This feels safer. It sounds less confrontational.
It is. It's a fantastic tool, especially for professional settings. The formula is simple: recognition of their feeling or situation, plus a statement of your need.
So you validate them first, and then you set the boundary.
Precisely. The example given in the text is, I know you're busy at the moment, John, but I'd like to make a request of you. You're acknowledging his reality first. Another one is, I appreciate that you don't like the new procedure. However, until it's changed, I'd like you to keep working on it.
I like that. It softens the blow because you're showing the other person that you see them, that you hear them. You aren't just dismissing their reality out of hand.
Exactly. They feel heard, which makes them much less likely to become defensive. But, and this is a big but, there is a trap here. The expert analysis in the source warns against what it calls the but trap.
Butt trap. What's that?
It's when you use the empathy part as a fake out.
Mm-hmm.
If you say, I appreciate your feelings, but, and then you just proceed to completely bulldoze them, it comes across as deeply insincere. It's the verbal equivalent of the, I'm sorry you feel that way, non-apology.
Right. The word but can sometimes erase everything that came before it.
It can. The advice is to be very careful that you are genuinely holding the space for their feeling while you are also holding your boundary. It can't just be a script trick you're using to manipulate them. People can smell a fake script a mile away.
Authenticity matters. You have to mean the empathy part. Okay, so what about when things get a little more complex? Say, at work, when someone is changing the rules on you. You know, you agreed to do Project A, and that was the priority, and now they're dumping Project B on you and acting like it's just as important.
Ah, the classic scope creep. For that, the CCI module suggests a technique called discrepancy assertion. It is perfect for situations where guidelines aren't being followed or, as you said, words don't match actions.
Give me the script for that. This sounds incredibly useful for corporate life.
The script goes something like this. As I understand it, we agreed that Project A was the top priority. Now you're asking me to give more time to Project B. I'd like to clarify which one is now the priority.
Oh, I love that. It's so clean. It's so objective. It's not emotional. It's not, you're confusing me or you're overwhelming me. It's simply, here is discrepancy A and discrepancy B. Please resolve.
It forces the other person to resolve the contradiction that they themselves created. It removes you and your feelings from the center of the conflict and makes it about the logic of the work itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about you being overwhelmed. It's about the math not adding up. Two things can't both be the #1 priority.
Okay, but what if that doesn't work? What if someone is just trampling all over you? They're ignoring the rules, they're ignoring your polite assertions. What's the next level?
Then you have to escalate. You move to consequence assertion. This is the strongest form of the toolkit. It really is a last resort.
The nuclear
Your
option.
diplomatic nuclear option, let's call it. It's used when someone is persistently ignoring rights or guidelines. But the warning here is absolutely crucial. Because it can be seen as aggressive or threatening, your nonverbal calm is essential. If you shout a consequence, it's a threat. If you state it calmly and factually, it's a boundary.
Delivery is everything. So what's the example script for this one?
If you continue to withhold the information I need for this report, I will be left with no option but to bring in the production director. I prefer not to do that.
I'd prefer not to. That phrase, that little phrase at the end is such a power move.
It is, isn't it?
It puts the ball right back in their court. It's saying, I don't want to escalate this. You are forcing my hand. Help me help you avoid getting in trouble.
That's it exactly. It shows that you are reluctant to escalate, but you are absolutely willing to do so if forced. You're not enjoying it, you're not on a power trip, but you are not bluffing.
Okay, these are fantastic for professional settings, seriously life-changing. But what about that person in your personal life who just will not take no for an answer? The badgerer, the person who hits you with the, oh, come on, just this once, or the ultimate guilt trip. But I thought we were friends.
Ah, yes. For that, we need to look at one of my favorite sections of the CCI module. It's a technique that is both incredibly simple and profoundly effective. The broken record technique.
The broken record? I feel like my mom used this on me when I was a kid. Clean your room. But Mom, I was gonna clean your room, but clean your room.
The source actually says it's based on the persistence of children. It's brilliant. It involves preparing one clear, calm statement and then repeating it exactly over and over without getting drawn into arguments or what the source calls irrelevant logic.
Irrelevant logic. That is the key right there. That's how they get you. People try to hook you with logic. But it'll only take 5 minutes. But you have a car. You can just drive me. But you're not doing anything else right now.
And the moment you engage with that logic,
Yeah.
the second you say, well, actually, my car is low on gas, you've lost the interaction.
Why? Why have you lost it?
Because you've given them a problem that they can now solve. They'll say, oh, no problem, I'll give you gas money. You've turned your boundary into a negotiation, and you didn't want to negotiate. You just wanted to say no.
So the broken record denies them that foothold. You don't give them a puzzle to solve. You just give them the statement.
Let's walk through the example from the text. It's a dialogue between Kate and Dave. Kate wants to borrow $20.
Okay, I'll be Kate. I can be the annoying, pushy friend. You be Dave, the boundary setter, so. Hey, Dave, can I borrow $20 from you? I'm totally broke.
I can't lend you any money. I've run out.
Oh, come on. I'll pay you back as soon as I can, I swear. I really need it desperately. You are my friend, aren't you?
I can't lend you any money.
Look, you won't even miss $20. I see you buying those fancy coffees every day. Come on, don't be cheap.
I am your friend, but I can't lend you any money.
It's infuriating to be on the receiving end of, but it's so effective. You didn't answer my friendship guilt trip. You didn't engage with my insult about being cheap. You validated one part. I am your friend, and then repeated the boundary.
And notice what I didn't do. I didn't give a reason. I didn't say I can't lend it to you because I have bills to pay or because my budget is tight. I just stuck to the script. It keeps you relaxed because you don't have to invent new arguments on the fly. You don't have to be clever. You just have to be consistent.
A calm, confident wall of no. But the source does mention a limitation, doesn't it? You can't just do this forever.
That's right. If overused, especially with the same person, it can lose its authority. It can start to sound robotic and dismissive. If the resistance continues relentlessly, you may need to escalate to that consequence assertion we talked about. Something like, if you continue to ask me, I'm going to have to end this conversation. Or you just have to physically leave.
There's one more specific type of assertion in this toolkit that I think we need to touch on because it deals with the really messy stuff. It deals with anger, resentment. What do you do when you're just mad at someone?
You use a negative feelings assertion. This is a structured way to express anger or frustration in a controlled, non-aggressive way. The CCI module breaks this down into a really clear 4-step method.
This feels incredibly useful for work and for personal relationships. What are the 4 steps?
Okay, step 1. Describe the other person's behavior objectively. No judging, no interpretation, just the facts. For example, when you leave it this late to produce your report.
Okay, factual. Got it. Step 2.
Step 2. Describe the tangible impact it has on you. It involves me working over the weekend to get my part done.
Okay. Step 3.
Step 3. Describe your feelings using an I statement. And I feel annoyed about this.
And finally, step 4.
Step 4. State your preference clearly and simply. So in the future, I'd like to receive it by Friday at lunchtime.
It's a formula. Behavior, impact, feeling, preference. BIFP.
It is. And using that formula keeps the conversation from spiraling into chaos. It prevents you from saying things like, "You're always lazy," or "You never respect my time," which just makes people defensive. It keeps the focus on the specific behavior and the desired solution.
I feel like if I just printed out these formulas and taped them to my computer monitor, my entire work life would transform overnight. But we have to talk about the place where all these good intentions, all these boundaries go to die.
Let me guess. The glowing rectangle in your pocket.
My smartphone is a glowing rectangle of constant demand, and we have a source here from Jeannie Gee's blog that focuses specifically on text stress and digital etiquette. And honestly, reading it raised my blood pressure a little bit just because it was so painfully accurate.
It's such a modern problem, isn't it? Jeannie Gee writes about the normalization of instant availability, that feeling that we are, in her words, at everyone's beck and call, 24/7.
She also talks about the Pavlovian response we have to the buzzes and dings from our phone.
She does. And she brings a really important neurodivergent perspective to it. She mentions ADHD specifically, and how the sheer volume and pace of messages can trigger a non-response, or a feeling of complete overwhelm. It's not that you don't want to reply, it's that your brain's executive function just shuts down. The dopamine system gets overloaded and fries the circuit.
I have felt that paralysis. You see the notifications pile up and you
Wow.
can't even start. So what are the strategies here? Because we can't just throw our phones in the river as much as I might want to on some days.
No, we can't. She offers 7 ways to set text boundaries. And the very first one is a little controversial for some, but I think it's absolutely brilliant. Turn off your way gown. Read receipts.
The dreaded blue ticks, the tyranny of the blue tick.
She describes them as invasive and toxic.
Toxic, that's a really strong word for a feature on a phone.
It is, but think about the psychological effect they have. They train society to feel entitled to an instant response from you. She presents this logic that I think is just undeniable. Reading a text takes a split second. It's a glance. Replying takes cognitive load. It takes headspace. It takes time. They are not the same action.
But the blue tick collapses them into one action. It tells the sender they saw it, so why aren't they typing a response right this second?
Exactly. It creates a gap where anxiety and resentment and negative assumptions can grow. Are they ignoring me? Are they mad at me? By turning them off, you reclaim the time between reading and processing. You give yourself permission to think before you reply.
I turned mine off years ago, and I have never, ever looked back. It was single-handedly the best decision I ever made for my digital anxiety. What's next on her list?
Stop apologize.
Ooh, that's a tough one. My fingers automatically type, "So sorry for the delay."
And every single time you type that, you are reinforcing the unhealthy, unrealistic expectation of instant speed. You are admitting guilt where there is absolutely no crime. You are telling the other person, "Yes, you are right. I should have answered you instantly. Please forgive my transgression."
That is so profound. Unless it's a true emergency, I don't owe anyone an instant reply. My time is my own.
And on the flip side of that coin, she says to reject apologies. When someone else apologizes to you for a slow reply, tell them no need to apologize at all. Normalize asynchronous communication. Be the change you want to see in the digital world.
I like that. It's paying it forward, boundary-wise. What about the physical act of typing? That can be a barrier for some people.
It can. She recommends using talk-to-text. For those with what she calls low frustration tolerance, or who are just clumsy typers, speaking the reply can lower the barrier to responding. It just reduces the friction.
And the big one, the one we all know we should do more of, sleep mode, or do not disturb.
It's essential. The idea is to check your texts at allocated times that you choose, not every time your phone buzzes. She shares this really funny and sad anecdote about a friend asking if she was being stalked because her phone buzzed so much during their lunch together.
That's embarrassing. And also totally relatable.
It is. But it shows how desensitized we become to the constant interruption. We don't realize how loud and demanding our digital life is until someone from the outside points it out.
There's one suggestion here that I think is really bold, but I kind of love it. Changing your status.
Yes, explicitly stating in your WhatsApp or messaging app status, please allow up to 24 hours for a reply.
It sets the expectation right at the front door. It's like a sign that says, abandon all hope of instant gratification, ye who enter here. It's brilliant.
And her final point is crucial for work-life balance. Email for work. Do not let Sharon from HR text you about the new dress code on a Saturday morning while you're at your kid's soccer game. Funnel work communication back to the appropriate work channel, which is email.
That goes right back to the inner and outer circle visualization. Sharon from HR and her dress code memos belong firmly in the outer circle, which means she stays in the email inbox, not in the pocket of my jeans.
Exactly. You have to be the bouncer for your own mind. Keep the inner sanctum for the inner circle.
Okay. So we have the diagnosis, we have the visualization tools, we have the verbal scripts, we have the digital defenses. This is an incredible arsenal. But how do we actually start? Because this all feels very overwhelming. If I go home tonight and try to use consequence assertion on my spouse, it might be a very rough night.
Right, you can't go from 0 to 100. You need a ramp-up period.
Right.
The blog from the Ahead app offers a fantastic, really gentle 7-day plan to move from theory to practice.
Okay, I love a plan. Walk us through the first few days. It feels less scary when it's broken down.
So days 1 through 3 are what they call the foundation. And the great thing is, you don't even have to say no yet. You're just gathering data. Day 1 is just signals. Your only job is to notice your body's signals during social interactions. A tight chest, a clenched jaw, sudden fatigue. Don't judge it, just observe it. Oh, interesting. Talking to this person makes my stomach hurt.
So we're becoming scientists of our own stress. We're just collecting data points. I like that. No pressure.
Exactly. Day 2 is map types. Your job on this day is to identify which type of boundary causes you the most anxiety. Is it physical boundaries, like someone standing too close? Is it emotional boundaries, like oversharing? Or is it digital? Knowing where your weakest spots are helps you prepare for the battle.
Okay, so day 1 is body signals. Day 2 is mapping the danger zones. What's day 3?
Day 3 is scripting. Sit down and write 3 different versions of a polite no. Just write them down, have them ready, keep them in the Notes app on your phone. You're just preparing your tools.
So by day 4, we're ready to launch. We've done our homework.
Days 4 through 7 are the practice. Day 4, real world. Your mission is to use one of your scripts in a very low-stakes situation. Maybe you politely decline a store receipt, or you say no to a minor request from a stranger.
Just to build confidence, to prove to your brain that the world doesn't end when you say no.
Exactly. Then day 5 is pushback. You have to prepare for the fact that some people will resist your boundary. So your job on day 5 is to use the broken record concept if you get pushback. Just calm repetition, no justification.
Day 6 sounds like it's getting serious.
Day 6 is challenging relationships. You pick one of your more difficult relationships and you set one specific, small, clear limit. The example they give is, shopping trips with this person will be limited to 2 hours.
And what's the final day, day 7?
Day 7 is maintenance. It's just a weekly 5-minute check-in with yourself. How did it go this week? Where did I succeed? Where did I struggle? What will I try next week? It makes it a continuous practice, not a one-time fix.
The source also mentions that we shouldn't just measure success by how many times did I say no, but by how we feel.
Yes, that's so important. The real signs of progress are internal. Things like decreased rumination, you stop replaying conversations over and over in your head, having more energy, and feeling more authentic in your own skin.
Feeling more authentic. That really feels like the ultimate goal in all of this.
It brings us right back to the connection between boundaries and anxiety. The source says that unclear boundaries keep your brain in a constant state of high alert. It's exhausting for your nervous system. Setting clear boundaries is like giving your nervous system permission to finally stand down and relax.
We have covered a massive amount of ground here. I mean, from the yes treadmill all the way to the broken record.
We really have. We've diagnosed the disease to please, we've visualized our inner circles, we've armed ourselves with a whole toolkit of assertiveness scripts, and we've turned off our toxic read receipts.
If there's one big thing I am taking away from this entire deep dive, it's that boundaries are not about being mean. They're not about pushing people away. They are about structure. They are the structure that allows you to be safe, professional, and actually genuinely helpful rather than just being resentful all the time.
And I think the Book of No provides the perfect final thought for us to sit with. It's a simple sentence. People don't think about you as much as you worry about what they think.
Oh, that is strangely, profoundly comforting.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
The truth is, as soon as you say no, most people don't spend hours analyzing why. They usually just move on and find someone else to ask. Your no is a much bigger deal to you than it is to them.
So here is our challenge to you, the listener. To everyone on that yes treadmill, ask yourself this. If you stopped saying yes out of fear, who would you actually be? What would you do with all that time and energy that currently belongs to everyone else?
It's a big question. A life-changing one, maybe.
Try just one no today, just one small one. See what happens. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Take care of yourselves.